What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Jumping back on here again, I want to show you a quick way to initiate some email campaigns. Okay, recently was helping somebody out with this, and super cool and effective way to get a series of emails sent out, drip campaign, as some people call them, and not have to really think about it once you get it in motion. So I'm going to walk you through how to set this up in a workflow, and then how to manually trigger like a list of contacts, etc., to go through that. And so there's multiple reasons why you would do this. But let's just say you have a list of people and you're running a campaign for a particular product or service that you're doing, and you want them to be able to go through a sequence of emails. Maybe they get an initial one, and then they get tagged, they get put into your CRM, and then a day goes by and then they get sent the second one, etc. There's all kinds of variants that you can do and customizations, but I'm going to show you a really basic version of it just to get the wheel spinning. All right, so let's do this. And so as you can see, we're going to jump in right off the gate first. I'm going to go into an automation here, and I think I already had one built out. Yeah, here's one. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, okay? And I built this from scratch. So as you can see, it's very, very simple. There is not a trigger. So this is one of those instances where you don't have an automatic trigger set, okay? Because we're going to manually do this in your contacts. There's other times where you could trigger this, like let's say you have an opt-in on your website or an opt-in on social via a form of some sort that you're sharing, and the person fills that out, and then that triggers this workflow. You could do it that way too. This is the way I'm going to show you how to do it from an existing list that you already have, though. Okay, so if you already have an existing list in your CRM and you just want to trigger those particular leads, this is going to be a way to do it. Down the road, we can give another example of how to do it once a tag is initiated, and that could be the trigger, etc. Okay, but this is a really bare bones way to show you how to initiate this kind of manually, if you want to call it that, from an existing list. So no trigger, that's important to remember. Okay, no trigger here. And then as you can see, I got another step here that is the email sequence. So how I do this from scratch is you just hit the plus sign, right? We're going to choose email, send email, and you can fill out the information as needed here about who this is from. I always recommend putting the steps here too, the name, the action name, just to keep things organized, because as you can see right now, this just says email one. But in this step, let's say is going to be warm up email one, let's just say. Okay, it's from Gordie. And you can put whatever email that you need there. Okay, and obviously this is not going to be the actual subject and all that, but we're just doing this for an example. I want to choose an existing template. We're going to go with this one right here. And as you can see, this is a preview of what that's going to look like. If you want to edit it, you could do it right directly from here, and it'll pull up the editor, and you can edit this out. All right. So this is just a sample of what that's going to look like. We're going to say that that is exactly how I want it. So we're going to save that action. Okay. Oh, I got to put it from email here. So we're going to do. All right. We're going to use that email. Save it. Okay. So now as you can see, warm up email one. All right. Now in this instance, let's say we want to create a delay. So there's a wait step. Okay. And we want to wait for 1 day before the next email goes out. We're going to do that. Okay. So again, action name, wait 1 day. I like to do this to keep it organized. It really helps out. Okay. And then 1 day is gonna be in waiting before the next email goes out, after this email goes out. So this next one, I already had one in place here, but let's say I'm going to create one of these other. Actually, I'm not going to create one of those templates. As you can see, you could choose a template that you've already created, or it could just be a plain text-based email, right? Whatever you choose. But for example purposes, I'm going to do that. All right. And then the next step is going to be maybe another wait step. Okay. But in this case, I'm going to show you exactly what I was doing here. We're going to create a wait step, but there's going to be another condition behind it. Okay. So we're going to expand on this a little bit, and we're going to choose an email event. And let's just say we want to make sure that previous email, we're waiting for that other email to have been opened. Okay. So once that email is actually opened, okay, and see, as you can see, it's saying, okay, which email step are we waiting for? Do you want me to wait until warm up email 1, which is the one up here, is opened, or the second one, which is email 1? Let's just say we're going in sequence here, and we're going to say email 1. Okay, I'm going to save that. So what this is saying is wait for email 1 to be opened. Actually, I should probably name those a little bit different so we don't confuse anybody. So I'm going to come back up. Let's rewind just a second. So we're going to call this warm up email 1. I'm going to change this to warm up email 2. Okay. All right. So this should have changed it automatically, but we'll double check. Yeah, it did. So warm up email 2. All right. So now you can see from the top here, no trigger. We're going to send them this first email. A day is going to be waiting in the wait step until email 2 goes out. Okay. We're going to wait for email 2 to be opened. And when it does, it's going to go to the next step. So I got one too many steps here. I'm going to delete this. Okay. And then whether or not it was open. So now you can get a little creative here. If it was opened, I might send them a different sequence of emails. And if it wasn't, maybe I send them another email to kind of prod them. And then I wait a day. And then if they don't do it, then I send them back over here and we send it to them anyways. Okay. So there's all kinds of things you can do. And you can keep going down the rabbit hole here as much as you want, right? So once this next email is opened up, as you can see, I got another tree. Yes, they opened it. They go down this tree. No, they didn't. They go down this tree. And as you can see, I just keep going down the pipe here. All right. And believe it or not, some people will create, emails in like 100 email sequences here. And it's done for a very long period of time. And if you got an audience that's present with you and your brand and they're keeping pulse with you quite frequently, that could potentially be an option for you because you can mass create all those emails, and over a series of months it goes through a sequence like this. Because remember, you can delay this however you want. Could be a day, could be 30 days, could be whatever. You get to choose what it is, right? Hours, minutes, depending on what it is. Okay, that could be something that you even lead into a holiday or some kind of big promotion that you're going to do, like a book release or some kind of signing, product launch, etc. All kinds of different things you can do. Okay, once that's the way that you want it, obviously I showed you here the deep end of the rabbit hole, but let's just say it ended right there. Right, you got a couple emails that you're sending out. You wouldn't need this step here. It would just end right after that last step. Okay, after that last email, you're going to publish that workflow. I'm not going to do this here because I don't want to, and it actually, you know what? I'm going to have to publish this so I can show you. So we're going to publish this. And remember, this is dubbed recipe email drip sequence. Okay. So I'm going to publish this. It's not going out to anybody because, nobody's been assigned it and it doesn't got a trigger. And this is why you want to be careful with it. Because if you did have a trigger activated, let's say you told it to send the sequence out to a particular tag. As soon as you publish that, any of those tags that you might have for a contact, boom, that baby's firing off. And so you want to be careful with that. So in this case, I'm going to publish it. We're going to go back into our contacts here. And right here, let's just say I'm going to pick Jane. Okay. Or you could do a list. It could be you filter this out by a company. So you might have a list of people at a certain company, or the tag option, like I mentioned. You might have a list of tags for a particular group of people. Okay, and you want to send it to all of them. So let's just say, I don't think I have any of this tag. Nope. So that won't work. All right. But let's just hypothetically, let's say I had a bunch of people that were with this particular tag and I had a list of 100 or something. All those people are going to show up on this list here once you filter it. Okay. So let's just pretend that's the case. I got 100 people listed here and I select them all. In this case, I'm just going to select this one. But what you'll see here is once they're selected, you have the option to come up here where it says add to automation. Okay. You're going to click that. It's going to give you this little warning here letting you know, hey, you sure you want to do this here? We're going to say yes, I want to proceed. So now it's going to ask you in this drop down here, either I'm going to do it via a workflow or I'm going to do it via a campaign. Now remember, we don't have a campaign matching here right now for this, so this is going to be just a workflow. And it's going to pull up the published workflows, which in this case, you see email drip sequence. Okay. Now I get to determine how I'm going to send this out. Am I going to do them all at once? Do I want to schedule this, or do I want it to go in drip mode where it's dropping them off over time, etc.? And then in this part here, you're going to give it a name. And this is so you can see on the reporting side and make sure you know what automation this was, okay? And then you just click on add to automation. I'm not going to do that because it's going to fire off if I do. But if it did, then automatically I get that first email. And then a day later, I get the next one. And then a day later, or if I opened it, it's going to send the next one, so on and so forth, okay? And that's how you do it. That's pretty much the logistics of how to piece together an email drip sequence, all right? So hope that wasn't too much there. I don't think it was. Right? Pretty simple. You're starting a basic automation. There's no trigger. You're adding in the email that you want to send out to your list. You could put in the wait step. You could put in the conditions of whether or not they get another one based on if they open it or click on something within an email, etc. There's all types of different conditions that you can put on that. But in this particular case, we kept it really simple and said, hey, we're going to trigger this workflow by adding a list or a contact to that workflow. They're going to get that first email. It's going to wait a day. It's going to send off the second one. It's going to wait again and determine if they open it. And if they do, they're going to get another sequence. If they don't, they get another sequence. And so it's a real cool way to build out your email campaigns. And so if you have an email list, start putting it to use. If you don't have a list, got to start creating one. Okay. Super helpful, super beneficial. Hope this has been of value to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Super grateful for you. If you're checking this out, stay blessed. We'll talk to you soon.